Over here on the left with the 10-8 suited, this is a hand that it's a pretty decent hand to 3-bet with. It's going to play reasonably well in a 3-bet pot, especially the deeper that you get, the more inclined I'm going to be 3-betting with stuff like 10-8 suited, because when we're like 200 big blinds deep, a hand like I don't know, King Jack offsuit, which is a hand that I might be more inclined, like 100 big blinds deep, a lot of times with King Jack offsuit, if I flop top pair, it's going to be I'm not always thrilled to stack off with it, but I often have a hand that's strong enough that I can play it pretty confidently from out of position in a 3-bet pot. At that point, the stacks are shallow enough that having one good pair is a pretty strong hand. When you get to be like 200 big blinds deep, that's not as true. And so 10-8 suited is the kind of hand that I think is pretty solid for 3-betting the deeper that you get. Your pair, when you make a pair, as opposed to like 4-3 suited or something, flopping a pair with a 10 or an 8 can still be kind of useful. But the real value in it is the possibility of making flushes and straights, and even flush and straight draws that you can play aggressively. That kind of stuff becomes more useful in terms of what you need to do to play profitably out of position in deeper 3-bet pots. I'm also more inclined to call rather than to 3-bet. The more that I know about how my opponent plays, and the going along with that, the more confident I am in my ability to play better than my opponent. Here, we don't have a huge read on Gopher-esque yet, nor do I think that I'm a hugely better player than he is, but we're also not so deep that I think I need to be 3-betting all the time, and he has. I think of late I have been 3-betting him a fair amount, which I had not at the very beginning of the match. But so yeah, here I elected just to call it the 10-8 suited. We get a pretty kind of a scary flop, but at the same time, we've got bottom pair and gut shot draw to go along with it. And I think this is not a spot where Gopher's gonna go real crazy. I think that we're gonna be able to figure out where we stand reasonably well. I'm actually not thrilled about that turn call. I'm not sure that Gopher is gonna pot it if he's bluffing. It's not inconceivable, but it's not really what he's been doing. I think that he probably would have tried to get away with a cheaper bluff if he wanted to, and I don't think my draw is quite enough to make up for the fact. Like, what I'm counting on here with the A10 is that there's some chance that the 8 is the best hand, plus I've got a little bit of equity if it happens not to be the best hand. But I think if Gopher bet like $40 there, I'd be perfectly happy with the call. When Gopher pots it, just kind of based on how he's been playing, I think he's going to opt for the cheaper bluff if he can. And given that there's not really much reason to think a $40 bluff wouldn't be that good of an idea if he had a pretty crappy hand, I don't really know why he would choose to pot it here. And I especially don't think that he would be potting it here if he had something with a little bit of, I don't even know what that would be, like 8-7 or something. That's not even a good example though. I think that pot size bet is probably not going to be a bluff all that often, and I think that I don't have enough equity against non-bluffs there. And yeah, sure enough, he did have top pair with a weak kicker.